My brother-in-law, Jason, is 20 years old and was paralyzed in an accident 2 years ago. He's confined to a wheelchair and has very limited hand movement, requiring assistance with almost everything. My wife's parents were deeply affected by this and found it overwhelming to manage his care. Despite receiving financial support and compensation, my in-laws struggled with the demands of medical appointments, therapy sessions, and constant caregiving. Eventually, they sent Jason to live with us, saying they needed a short break to cope with the stress. That short break stretched into months, and Jason ended up staying with us permanently. This caused significant tension. We were shocked that his parents stopped visiting him entirely, especially when he was already struggling emotionally and adapting to his new reality. We didn't speak to them for a long time. Adjusting to having Jason with us was challenging at first, but we're now grateful he's here. Before the global situation changed, we had a caregiver stay with him while we worked, but now that we're home most of the time, my wife and I take turns caring for him. Jason and I have grown very close, and we've had many conversations about his emotions. I understand how deeply his parents' absence hurts him, especially given his circumstances. We haven't had any contact with them for over a year. Recently, they reached out, expressing a desire to reconnect with Jason. My wife saw this as an opportunity to mend the family and heal old wounds. She discussed it with Jason, but he was adamant about not wanting to see them. He's been clear about his stance, but my wife believes it's important for them to talk. Today, her parents showed up unannounced while she was out. Jason was in another room, and it turns out they had coordinated with my wife to meet, arriving earlier than planned. They wanted to sit down with Jason, but I refused to let them in. My frustration took over, and I closed the door when they wouldn't leave. I informed Jason of their visit, and he reiterated that he didn't want to speak with them. They left after about 10 minutes. When my wife returned, she was furious. She acknowledges their past mistakes, but believes this was a chance for reconciliation. She thinks Jason's emotions are clouding his judgment and that I blocked a potential step toward healing by refusing them entry. We argued about it. She called my actions harsh, but I believe I was respecting Jason's wishes. Now I'm questioning myself. Was I wrong to shut the door on my in-laws and prevent them from seeing their son when they were trying to make amends? You're not wrong. It seems you're the only one truly prioritizing Jason's feelings. Everyone else, including your wife, appears to be focused on their own needs. While her desire to reunite the family is understandable, this isn't the way to go about it. Her parents made their choice, and now they must face the consequences. It's reasonable that they struggled with his care, given their age, but abandoning him entirely after such a life-altering event was a terrible decision. If Jason chooses not to see them, that's his right, not theirs or your wife's to override. She's acting selfishly here. Jason is fortunate to have you advocating for him. You made the right call by closing the door. Now they know what it feels like to be shut out. You're not wrong. Imagine leaving your child because their disability is too hard for you, when you're not the one facing a permanent life change, and then expecting a second chance because you're their parents. Dismissing his pain over their abandonment and expecting him to move on for the sake of a happy family is unfair. Jason isn't the one breaking the family. His parents did that when they decided to take a break from their son's life. You're not wrong. Your wife, however, is mistaken. She tried to force a reconciliation on her adult brother, essentially trapping him in a situation he wasn't ready for. She doesn't get to decide what's best for him, nor does she have the right to make such significant choices for others. Even if Jason eventually wants to talk to his parents, it should be on his terms, not dictated by his sister's interference. You're the one standing up for what's right here. Some context: my mom and aunt are twins and got pregnant around the same time. I was born in June, and my cousin was born in September. Growing up, my cousin mimicked everything I did or liked, and our moms encouraged it. It happened with everything. When I got a doll set for Christmas, she got the same one. For my 5th grade graduation, I wore a pink dress, and so did she, identical. I even had to leave a job because she didn't qualify for it, but I did, and she insisted we work together. The most frustrating thing was being forced to share my birthday celebration with her because she liked pretending we were twins, despite being born 3 months apart. I didn't get to celebrate my birthday until September. This continued until I was almost an adult. While some overlap in interests is normal, I find it exhausting. I can't express myself or pursue my passions without her copying me, and it's never just my thing, it's always ours. Currently, I'm applying to colleges. I haven't decided yet, but have narrowed down my fields of study. Today, my cousin and aunt visited for lunch, and she asked which colleges I'm applying to. I said I wasn't sure, and my mom gave me a stern look, that parental glare. I know if we go to the same college, I'll be pressured to live with her. My mom and aunt have already discussed this, and it's not what I want. Later, my mom came to my room and told me to stop being unkind and share my college list with my cousin. I explained that I don't want to attend the same school because I'm tired of being forced to act like twins. She said that if I'm going to be selfish and make my cousin go to college alone, I won't get a graduation party. I feel guilty, like I'm doing something wrong, but I don't know why. Am I wrong for not sharing my college plans? You're not wrong. Just because your mom and aunt enjoy being twins doesn't mean they can force you and your cousin, who aren't even sisters, to pretend you are. Going to college alone is part of growing up and discovering who you are. Stand firm on this. If you want to establish your own identity separate from your cousin, you have every right to do so. You shouldn't have to sacrifice your independence so your mom and aunt can relive their twin experience through you or because your cousin likes the idea. You're not wrong. Consider giving her a list of colleges you're not applying to. When it comes up later, you can say the school you chose was a last-minute decision you forgot to mention. To be safe, tell your mom the same fake list so her conversations with your aunt align. Choose plausible schools in a different region, like if you're applying to schools north of your hometown, list ones to the south. I knew twin brothers in college who also wanted space to be individuals, not just a pair. Parents need to stop forcing the twin dynamic, especially when you're not even twins. I'm a 39-year-old man, and I've lost both my mom and my son to cancer. My son passed in 2015, and the pain is still as raw as ever. My parents were divorced, and I primarily lived with my dad for various reasons. I don't get along well with my stepbrother, and I don't consider him family because of how he acted during my mom's and son's illnesses. I cared for my mom entirely on my own. My dad showed no interest, and he didn't encourage the family to support me, even with occasional visits. During my mom's illness and after her passing, no one made time for me. I wasn't invited to birthdays, family gatherings, or holidays. This past Christmas was filled with sorrow and painful memories. My loved ones weren't there for me. I was left alone, drowning in grief and reflecting on how my life used to be. A week after my son's death, my stepbrother sent a wedding invitation through my dad, expecting me to attend. I was hurt, to say the least. They minimized my loss and made it harder to process. I inherited money from my mom and haven't touched it yet, choosing not to make big decisions in my first year of mourning. My routine is monotonous. I occasionally visit my aunt to talk. Meanwhile, my dad and stepmom have been focused on my stepbrother's wife, who's been in and out of the hospital for 2 months. I don't pry, as my stepmom and stepbrother aren't open about it. My dad recently sat me down to discuss the family pooling money to cover medical bills and prepare for his wife's surgery in late February. He asked me to contribute since I have the inheritance. I refused and tried to steer the conversation elsewhere, but he pressed, saying I should support my stepbrother during this tough time. I responded with one question: where was my stepbrother when I was struggling? My dad didn't take it well. He told me to let go of the past and stop making this about myself, accusing me of complicating things for everyone. He said he promised my stepmom and stepbrother he'd convince me to help, and I was making him look bad. We ended up shouting at each other. I told him that wasn't my problem. He dragged my aunt into this, and now they're saying I'm abandoning family and being vindictive. I feel guilty, but also resentful that they're asking for my mom's money, my mom, whom they didn't even visit during her illness. I understand their pain because I went through it with my son. Losing a child is a parent's worst nightmare. But as the saying goes, you reap what you sow. They weren't there for me, so why should I help now? My advice: cut contact with them. They're selfish and toxic. You're not wrong. Your dad was wrong to promise his wife and stepson you'd pay. Forget them. You're not obligated to support anyone but yourself. If you choose to help, that's your decision, but it seems they're just using you. Do what feels right for you. You're not wrong. They're only family when it's convenient for them to ask for your money. If your dad's worried about looking bad for making a promise he had no right to make, that's his problem. If your mom were here, would she want you to give her money to these people? I'd bet she left it to you to improve your life, and that's what she'd want you to do with it. As a young woman, I suffered 2 traumatic brain injuries as a child. I fell headfirst from my crib onto a tile floor, and later, when my aunt was babysitting, she fell asleep, and my cousin convinced me to slide down the stairs on a plastic tray. It didn't end well. I hit a wall and lost consciousness. These injuries make it hard for me to focus. I use colored gel pens to take notes, assigning each section a different color. It helps me stay organized and engaged, and I include a color key at the top of my notes for studying. Most teachers appreciate this because it aids my learning, and when I need signatures from administrators like the principal, they often ask which color they should use. Earlier this year, my history teacher noticed my colorful notes during in-person classes and asked if I could read them with all the colors. I explained that it keeps me focused and organized. She seemed fine at first, but started commenting every time I used my pens, saying it took too much time or looked unprofessional. I don't submit my handwritten notes for this class because my handwriting, a mix of cursive and print, is hard for some to read. Instead, I write them in class, type them up at home, and submit the typed version, so I didn't think the colors mattered. Today, she got frustrated and banned all colored pens in her class. Now, half the class is upset because they use darker colors like blue or purple for their notes and now have to switch to black pens. Pencils are also banned because she says we're too old to make mistakes. Am I wrong for using colored pens, even though it annoyed my teacher? You're not wrong. Teachers should support your learning. There's no valid reason to ban colored pens, especially when they help students like you. She seems to be asserting her authority for no good reason. You're definitely not wrong. Your teacher is being unreasonable. You should report this to higher authorities. Banning colored pens, knowing they help you, is unfair, especially since you type your notes for submission. Your teacher is wrong. They should commend you for finding a creative way to manage your focus issues. You're not wrong. Have your parents talk to the principal. This could qualify as a reasonable accommodation for a disability. I have dyslexia and used colored markers for notes in high school over 20 years ago because they helped me process information. I carried a large pack of them. A teacher's role is to foster success, not hinder it. My husband and I are staying with his family for a few weeks after pipes burst in our home. We're in a spare room sometimes used by my husband's toddler nephew. Over the weekend, the nephew tried to enter the room, but we had locked it to sleep. He banged and kicked the door, yelling for us to let him in. I got up and told him to calm down, quiet down, and knock politely before entering. He stormed off. My sister-in-law poked her head in and suggested we leave the door unlocked since he's used to coming and going. I said no, there's no reason for him to be in here. She insisted he just wants to spend time with us. I stood firm, and she huffed, saying something like, "Hope you enjoy being woken up every morning," in a smug tone. I suggested they remove anything he might want from the room to resolve the issue. The next morning, he screamed at us to let him in. We ignored him, and he got louder, throwing things at the door. My mother-in-law came down and said we shouldn't lock doors in their house because it's not how they do things, and he just wanted to climb into bed with us for cuddles. I said that felt uncomfortable. She was shocked, saying it's normal because he's a child. I explained I'm not okay with someone else's kid cuddling in bed with me. She argued that as guests, we should respect their preference for unlocked doors because locking them feels unwelcoming. I countered that I'm not comfortable with a child crawling into bed with me. She called me cold. My husband supports me, but things have been tense with the family, though not between us. It's clear my attempt to set boundaries shocked them. I understand that their house, their rules, perspective, but I draw the line at a child joining us in bed. Am I wrong? You're not wrong. It's reasonable to expect privacy in your bedroom. Try announcing at dinner that you and your husband are intimate often, and if your sister-in-law is fine with her son walking in on that, it could happen tomorrow morning. This should make the point. Guests in a home deserve privacy. Do they leave the bathroom or shower door open? Likely not. So why assume you wouldn't lock your bedroom door at night? The child seems undisciplined, and his mother's entitled reaction explains why. It's unsettling that she's okay with her son climbing into bed with a married couple who aren't his parents. She's probably just relieved it's not her door he's banging on. If you can't resolve this, consider two options. Ask to switch rooms with your sister-in-law so she deals with her son's morning visits, or sleep without clothes to make it clear why privacy matters. One awkward moment should stop both the nephew and sister-in-law from bothering you. You're not wrong.